And like I said in another audio presentation, they're funnier than shit, man. But I guess shit isn't really that funny, so that's not a high standard. But like I said, if you're a clown all the time, then things go to shit. You become what you think, right? So, if things are just willy nilly, you ever talk to somebody who says shit that like just doesn't make sense? And it's like you can't quite figure out if they're doing it like computer people, right? The person who makes up the story, just for S and Gs, the person who like isn't even into tools, but for some reason wants to fabricate a tool review just because. It's not like he doesn't like, people who work with their hands or whatever. He's just like it stumbles across, like as an advertisement or whatever. Fucking Sanders. Oh, really? Okay, and he does this computer thing, right? And just quickly pumps out a review, in like 5 minutes. Sand, it's out there in the internet, and then just, you know what I mean? See, that's how tech people and or computer people are. They're the type of people who are walking along, they see a flower, and they just step on it, or something like that. um, so it's just who the fuck they is. When they were kids, they, ripped the wings off the butterfly and flew it in the anthill. And their response is, butterfly's so stupid. Why don't you walk out, or something, Or I guess if you throw it in a spider web, they're kind of out of luck. But anyway, they're those people, they're just weaselly, cowardly, chicken shit, scum, different levels. Some of them, are truly bad, characters, but most of them are just ankle biting, pieces of shit, They're the dog, having a diuretic shit episode, while you're at the park, trying to enjoy yourself, But, they're not, as human beings, they're just pathetic creatures. But, they understand very well how magic air works. That's why they took to it, you know, with such, half-cocked, peepees, and they kind of go, they put themselves in God mode, in a lot of these scenarios. They'll fuck around, 4 or 5 hours a day, every day at least, just not doing good for humanity on the internet. Magic air. They manipulate things. They create things. There's a fucking reason they gravitate to that shit, and there's a fucking reason they're the way they are. So, um, you know, like well, we'll just leave it at that. So, but that's all I had to say. I'm kind of, I don't know if it's the algorithms or AI or whatever. I'll maybe try and search in some other stuff because, like I said, my internet is not your internet. But the Bigfoot stuff, it's funny. It's funny. Just like what's his name said, Mr. Pellet, when he was talking about, how this is going to be bad in the long run. But oh, by the way, here's some funny shit. And it's all kind of based in that. Like the latest one I watched was Batman and Bigfoot Wilderness Bros. And that's just anyway. It is what it is. So I don't thumb it up. I do watch it, and that's just what life is going to turn into. And people are just, it's going to be like gibberish. You're going to like. I'm just sort of talking shit. Well, not really, but there's people out there when you talk to them, you kind of have to step back and take a 20,000 foot view and kind of try and get in their head. You know what I mean? Because they're not giving you like legitimate, honest answers that are coherent and make sense. And they're not on drugs or anything like that. They're just, yeah, man, this is how I talk. You know, you ever meet someone like that? See, and these, usually when you meet someone like that, they are a little bit kind of on the hippie trippy side of things. But, you know, the more computer people that, you know, become, you know, it becomes normal. And people are just going to sort of fall into that world, you know, hey, internet, magic error, fake shit, nothing's real. You can't tell what's real and what's not, you know, it's all bullshit, you know. And they're cool with it, you know, it's almost like a nihilistic attitude or whatever. It's like, who fucking cares, man? What do I even need to know if something's legit or not? I just worry about myself, you know, fucking whatever, man. Fucking, hey, Batman, you want to go fishing? Fist bump, man. Now, let me check the old cheat code. What's a good place to? How do I make food? Oh, cool, man. Grilled cheese sandwiches. Yeah, Chef Boyardee. Fuck that motherfucker. And it's not even like stoner shit. Like it's, you know, these are just like, but they're kind of in the same thought process. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't have the horsepower to explain it, but dear online family and friends, you probably know what I'm talking about. Where you've been talking with somebody, and you can't quite figure out if they are on drugs, if they're a hippie dip trippy type, if they're fucking with you, you know, and you kind of sort of come to the conclusion that that's just how them motherfuckers think. So there's going to be a lot of that in the world. So, because AI is just going to accelerate just the shit, you know, fucking mentality. So, it's over.